We're with Caroline Taylor. She is a personal injury attorney in Nashville, and she's agreed to answer some online questions that were posted related to pedestrian accidents. And so with that said, let's get into the first question. This was from Sallie. Sallie says, I was hit by a car crossing the street 3 weeks ago. Technically, I was jaywalking, but the car was going way over the speed limit. Can I still get compensation?
Sure. Thanks so much for writing in, Sallie. And first off, I'm so sorry that you're even having to deal with this. So essentially what courts in most states will do is that they will compare fault. So they'll look at, yes, you may have been jaywalking, but they'll also look at what the driver of the car was doing. And I know you mentioned that he was speeding. And so it is definitely something to still look into a little bit more. I wouldn't say that just because you were jaywalking, you're automatically, that you won't potentially be able to get any sort of recovery, but courts tend to look at, percentages of fault and allocate things that way.
Okay. Next question was Morgan. Morgan, simple question. Do cars always have to yield to pedestrians?
Attorneys hate the word always because I can pretty much say there's almost never a situation where you can say always and an absolute. So I would probably qualify the term always. Obviously there are crosswalks where it is designated that you are going to have the right of way, but always is a really strong term. So I would not use it.
Okay.
And agree with that.
All right. Daryl asks, my 12-year-old son was hit crossing the street across from school. Thankfully, he's okay, but he does have a couple broken bones. The driver who hit him has gotten tickets in speeding zones before, or school zones before. I want to file a lawsuit against the driver, but I hate the idea of dragging my son through a lawsuit. How can I go about receiving compensation?
Sure, Daryl, and I understand your hesitation and not wanting your child to be anywhere close to a courtroom. I totally understand that. So most cases involving minors are actually brought by the parents on behalf of the minor. And so you would be the person that, would sign a contract with an attorney. You would go and meet. It is possible that we may need to get, obviously just some information from your son about what happened and be able to talk to him. But the odds of your child actually being drugged through court and having to do anything significant that would really bother him in any way, I don't think that would necessarily happen, because for the most part, courts are very sensitive to children and they obviously want to protect their interests as much as possible. So I think you'd be pleasantly surprised with the amount and the ability to hopefully keep him out of the lawsuit as much as possible.
Okay, excellent. And the last question we had was from Rick. Can a driver who hits a pedestrian face criminal charges?
It is possible that a driver that hits a pedestrian could face some criminal charges. It just generally depends on, kind of the circumstances behind it. For instance, was the driver that hits a pedestrian drunk? Things like that could really, up criminal capability and liability. So that would unfortunately depend on the specific case, and we'd have to know a little bit more facts, but it is possible that there could be some criminal charges that could also be filed.
Excellent. Well, if you have any other questions for Caroline, just all you need to do is post them in the comments section below, and she's agreed to answer your questions for you. So thanks for your time.
Thank you.